That night at my friend's house, something felt different. I never expected her to remember my name, let alone the way I take my coffee. Most mornings I sat at the corner table of a laundromat cafe, the one with the chipped edge and the outlet that only worked if you tilted the plug just right. It was cheap, quiet, and no one asked questions. I brought my laptop, fold a napkin into quarters without realizing it, unfold it, fold it again. The barista knew my order by now. That was the extent of my being known. That morning was the same. Same hum of machines through the wall. Same coffee cooling too fast because I kept forgetting to drink it. I checked my phone, thumb hovering over a name I never sent anything to. Then I put it face down and watched the steam thin out. Later that evening, I went to my friend Sam's place. He texted, "Mom made too much food, come over," which was code for I don't want to eat alone. I didn't either. His house smelled like lemon cleaner and something baked an hour ago. Comfortable. Lived in. She was at the counter when I walked in, glasses on, hair pulled back in that practical way that still left a few strands loose around her face. Mid-40s, maybe older. The kind of age you notice only because of how unbothered it looks. "Hey," she said, looking up. She paused, snapped her fingers softly once. "Eli." I stopped mid-step. "Yeah." She smiled like she was pleased with herself. "Sam's always late." "Seat. You want coffee or tea?" "Coffee's good. No sugar, right?" I laughed, a short sound that surprised me. "Right." She turned back to the kettle. Her hands moved with the ease of someone who's done this for decades. I watched without meaning to. When she handed me the mug, our fingers brushed, barely, and she didn't pull away too fast. Neither did I. It wasn't charged. Just noticed. Sam eventually showed up, loud as ever, filling the room so the silence didn't have to. We ate, talked about nothing important. At one point, she asked how my classes were going, and I answered too honestly. Told her I might switch majors. She nodded like that made sense. "Most people do," she said. "They just don't admit it out loud." Later, while Sim took a call outside, it was just us at the table. The clock ticked too loud. She folded a dish towel over and over, aligning the edges carefully. "You okay?" she asked, not looking at me. "Yeah," I said, then added, "I think so." She glanced up then, held my eyes a second longer than necessary. Not long enough to mean something. Long enough to feel like something almost did. When I stood to leave, she walked me to the door. "Take leftovers," she said, pressing a container into my hands. Our fingers touched again. This time she smiled like she knew it would happen. Outside, the air was cool. I stood there a moment longer than I needed to. She didn't rush back inside. "Drive safe, Eli." "I will." On the walk home, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Sam's mom. I forgot to give you the lid to the container. You can come by tomorrow if you want." I stared at the screen until it dimmed, then lit it again. Something about the night shifted slightly, like a chair moved in an empty room. I didn't answer right away. I just stood there, holding what I hadn't known I was missing, wondering why it suddenly felt heavier than it should. The next afternoon, I stood in their driveway longer than necessary, the container balanced in my hands like an excuse that might dissolve if I waited too long. The house looked different in daylight, less forgiving. Windows showing everything. She opened the door before I knocked. "I heard the car," she said, then smiled, like she hadn't meant to admit that. Inside, the kitchen was quiet except for the kettle clicking as it warmed. She took the container, rinsed it, set it upside down to dry. I didn't move, just watch her do things that clearly didn't need watching. "You want tea?" she asked. "Sure." She poured the water, then paused. "Chamomile, okay?" "Yeah, that's yeah." We sat at the small table this time, knees angled away from each other like we were being careful on purpose. Steam rose between us. I wrapped my hand around the mug, even though it was too hot. "So," she said lightly, "classes." I shrugged. "I might drop one. Or all of them." I smiled to soften it. "Not all. Just, I don't know. I keep thinking I should feel more sure by now." She nodded slowly. "I thought that too. At your age." I looked up. "What did you want to do?" She smiled, but didn't quite land. "Something else. I always wanted something else." The kettle clicked again, sharp in the quiet. She reached to turn it off, even though it didn't need it anymore. When she sat back down, she folded her hands, then unfolded them, then rested one on the table. I got married young, she said. That felt like the right thing at the time. And then one day, it just wasn't. She didn't say more. She didn't have to. The space around the words did enough. I nodded like I understood, though I only understood the wanting, not the years. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I noticed a faint crack in the mug's rim. She noticed me noticing it. Sorry, she said. It's Chip. It's fine, I said. I like it. She laughed quietly. Of course you do. Something about the way she said it made my chest tighten. I imagined things I shouldn't. Sitting there again, later, without an excuse. Her asking questions that weren't safe to answer. Sam walking in. The look on his face. I shifted in my chair. Looked down. I should probably go. She nodded immediately. Too quickly. Of course. At the door, she handed me the dry container. Our fingers touched, and this time she didn't pull away at all. Neither did I. Just a second. Maybe less. Enough. Thanks for coming by, she said. Her voice was steady. Her eyes weren't. Anytime, I said, then stopped myself. I know, she said gently. As I stepped outside, she touched my arm. Light. Barely there. Like checking the temperature of something you already know is warm. I don't know why that moment stayed with me. Maybe because it didn't ask for anything. Maybe because it felt like someone finally saw me and decided quietly to look away. After that, things shifted, not in a way you could point to, just enough to throw off the rhythm. I stopped coming by as much. Or maybe I noticed that I was stopping. Days passed where I thought about texting her and didn't. I'd open my phone, type hey, erase it. Tell myself there was nothing to say. Tell myself that was the point. Then Sam started asking questions. "You been busy," he said one night, sprawled on my couch, scrolling through nothing. "Mom asked about you." "Oh," I said. "Yeah, just school." He hummed, like he didn't quite buy it. I kept my eyes on the sink, on the way a drop of water clung to the faucet longer than it should have. The next time I saw her was accidental. At least it felt that way. I was dropping something off for Sam. Notes, maybe, and she was in the garage, struggling with a box that looked heavier than she expected. She froze when she saw me. "Oh," she said. Hey. I stepped forward without thinking. Took the box from her. Our hands overlapped. She let go too fast. "You didn't have to. It's fine." We stood there after, neither of us moving. The garage door half open, sunlight cutting the space into clean lines. Dust floating. I could hear my own breathing. She crossed her arms. Uncrossed them. "You've been quiet." "Yeah." I thought maybe. She stopped. Shook her head. "Never mind." I wanted to fill the space. Say something reassuring. Something harmless. Instead, I said, I didn't want to make things weird. That got her attention. She looked at me then. Really looked. "They aren't weird," she said. Then softer they could be. The word could landed heavier than it should have. Possibility always does that. Footsteps sounded in the driveway. Sam's voice too close. She stepped back immediately, like her body had been waiting for an excuse. I handed her the box. Our fingers brushed again, brief, apologetic. "Thanks," she said. Her smile was polite. Careful. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed the garage. The almost. The way her shoulders had tightened when she realized she wasn't alone. I imagined different endings. Ones where she didn't step back. Ones where I did. A week later, she texted. Just once. "Sam's out. I made too much soup again." I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Lit again. My heart was doing something annoying and loud. When I got there, the house was quiet in that late evening way. We ate standing up. Talked about nothing. The spoon clinked too loud against the bowl. She watched me like she was trying to memorize something before it changed. "I should stop doing this," she said suddenly. My chest tightened. "Doing what?" She hesitated. Looked at my mouth. Then away. "Inviting you. Thinking about you." Silence. Thick. Close. I stepped nearer before I realized I was moving. She didn't step back this time. Her hand lifted, hovered near my arm. Didn't quite touch. "I don't know what you want," she said. "I don't either," I said. I leaned in. Stopped. Close enough to feel her breath change. For a second, everything balanced on that space. Then she closed her eyes and turned her face just enough that my lips met air instead of her. "I can't," she whispered. and the quiet after that was louder than anything we hadn't said. We took a walk because it was easier than staying still. She said it like that. Do you want to walk? Already reaching for her jacket, as if movement might keep things from tipping over. The neighborhood was quiet, early evening, the kind where porch lights flick on one by one like a slow signal. We walked side by side, not close enough to touch, not far enough to relax. I saw you the other day, she said. I waited. The pavement was uneven. I adjusted my step to match hers. With that girl, she added. At the grocery store. Oh, I searched my memory, landed on a vague face. She's a friend. She nodded. Once. Kept walking. Her hands were shoved deep into her pockets like she didn't trust them. I didn't mean, she said, then stopped. We reached a bench at the corner park, the one with peeling green paint and a plaque for someone no one remembered. She sat. I sat beside her, leaving the careful space we'd perfected. I know it's none of my business, she said. She exhaled long. I didn't expect it to feel like that. Like what? She smiled thin. Like I misplaced something and then found out someone else picked it up. The words landed wrong and right at the same time. I stared at the ground. A leaf scraped along the concrete in the breeze. I didn't know you felt that way, I said. That's the problem, she said quietly. Neither did I. We sat there, the park empty except for us. A dog barked somewhere far off. A car passed, music leaking out before disappearing again. I keep telling myself this is harmless, she said. I'm just lonely. That you're just here. She looked at me then. Really looked. But I don't feel harmless when I think about you. My throat tightened. I imagined reaching for her hand. Imagined not letting go. Imagined Sam's face if he knew. Imagine the version of me 5 years from now, trying to explain this to someone else. I don't want to be a mistake, I said. Her shoulders dropped a fraction, like the words hit somewhere tired. I don't want you to be either. She laughed softly, without humor. That's what scares me. We sat in silence again. This one different. Heavier. She rubbed her thumb against the edge of the bench, over and over, wearing at the paint. I think about you more than I should, she said. In the mornings, when the house is quiet, I think about what you might be doing, and then I feel ridiculous. You're not, I said, too quickly. Then, softer, I do that too. Her head turned slowly. Our eyes met. No humor this time. Just something open. Unprotected. If I let this go any further, she said, I don't know if I'll know how to stop. I leaned closer. Not touching. Close enough that the space felt deliberate. What if we don't? I asked. She swallowed. Her breath hitched. For a moment, she didn't answer. Just looked at my mouth. Then my eyes. Then away, like she was measuring the damage. Her hand lifted between us. Hovered. Trembled. And the question sat there, unspoken but unmistakable. What happens if she closes the distance instead of protecting it? After that night, she went quiet. Not abruptly. Not in a way that could be called dramatic. Just small adjustments that added up to absence. The porch lights stayed off. The curtains were drawn earlier than usual. When Sam invited me over, she had errands. When I dropped something off, she wasn't home. Or maybe she was, and I was pretending not to notice the car in the driveway. I told myself it was healthy. Boundaries. Adults doing the responsible thing. It still felt like something had been taken away without asking. A week passed. Then another. I stopped finding reasons to be nearby. Stopped checking my phone every few minutes. Or tried to. The habits lingered longer than the hope. One afternoon, Sam called while I was in line at the grocery store. His voice was off, too careful. Hey, he said. Just heads up. Mom's ex is staying over for a bit. I swallowed. Oh, yeah. He's in town for work. Or something. A pause. It's weird. Just thought you should know. I hung up and stood there with a carton of eggs in my hand, not remembering when I picked it up. The idea of someone else in that house, someone who belonged there in ways I didn't, made my chest ache in a dull, distant way. That night, I drafted a text. Hey, Sam mentioned your ex is around. I hope you're okay. I stared at it. Read it again. It sounded like concern. It sounded like permission. I deleted it. A few days later, I ran into her at the pharmacy. An accident. Or fate having a sense of timing. She looked tired, pulled together but thinner around the eyes. Hi, she said like the word had edges. E. We stood in the aisle with cold medicine neither of us needed. She adjusted her scarf. I noticed a faint bruise on her wrist, yellowing. Old. He's gone, she said suddenly. My ex. He left this morning. Oh, I didn't tell you because she stopped, pressed her lips together. Because I didn't want you to feel responsible. For what? For staying away, she said. That landed harder than anything else. The choice. The mutual retreat that hadn't been mutual at all. I didn't know what you wanted, I said. She nodded. Neither did I. That's still true. There was so much we didn't say. About the bench. About the almost. About how quiet had replaced everything. Her phone buzzed. She checked it. Didn't smile. I should go, she said. Yeah. She hesitated. Ellie. I looked at her. I'm trying to do the right thing, she said. Not asking for approval. Just stating it. Like a fact she was learning to live with. I know, I said. That night, I sat on my bed and typed another message. This one honest. This one dangerous. I miss you. Not in a way that needs fixing. Just in a way that's there. I read it once. Twice. Then I turned the phone face down and let the screen go dark. I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt paused. Like life forgot to finish the sentence. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. The kind that feels unfinished even before it's over. I was dropping Sam off after a late lunch. He hopped out of the car, already halfway through a sentence about something inconsequential, and then he was gone, door closing with a soft, final sound. I sat there longer than necessary, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel. I hadn't planned to knock. That was the truth, I kept repeating. I knocked anyway. She opened the door like she'd been nearby, waiting without admitting it. No muck-up, hair loose, an old sweater that didn't try to be flattering. Oh, she said, then quiet or high. E. We stood there, the doorway holding us apart. The house behind her felt smaller than I remembered. Or maybe more honest. Do you want to come in? She asked. Yes, I said. Too fast. Then added, if that's okay. She stepped aside. The kitchen smelled like soap and something burnt earlier and forgotten. A mug sat on the counter, tea gone cold. She picked it up, then set it back down like she'd changed her mind about the weight of it. I'm not good at pretending, she said, finally. I tried. It just made everything louder. I nodded. My hands were empty. I didn't know where to put them. I kept thinking, she continued, eyes on the counter. If I don't say anything, it'll pass. Feelings do that, right? They peak and then they settle. Did it? I asked. She shook her head. No. The word landed between us. Simple. Costly. I didn't text you because I didn't want to pressure you, I said. But not texting you felt like lying. She looked at me then. Really looked. Her eyes were tired, but clear. I care about you, she said. That's the part one didn't plan for. My chest tightened. I know this is complicated. That's not the word, she said softly. It's uneven. We both understood what she meant. The years. Some. The way wanting didn't erase consequence. I don't want to take something from you, she said. Your time, your future, your ability to walk away from this and not feel marked by it. I'm already marked, I said, not accusing, just stating it. She closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, there was relief there, and fear. If we keep going, she said, it won't be easy. I'm not asking for easy. Silence settled again. Not heavy this time, more like acceptance. She stepped closer, close enough that I could see the faint line at the corner of her mouth, the one that deepened when she smiled, but wasn't smiling now. I can't promise you anything, she said. I'm not asking for promises, I said. Just honesty. She nodded once, then reached out and rested her hand on my arm. Not tentative, not rushed, just there. Okay, she said. It wasn't a victory. It wasn't a beginning the way people imagine them, but it was real. We didn't tell anyone right away. Not because it was a secret, exactly, more because it needed time to become something that could sit in the open without flinching. Weeks passed, then months. Summer slid into fall without ceremony. My routines changed first. I stopped sitting in a laundromat cafe every morning. Still went sometimes, but not out of habit. At 8:47 a.m., I was usually at her kitchen table now, black coffee in my hands, steam curling up between us. She drank tea, still chamomile, always letting it cool too long before remembering it was there. We didn't talk much in the mornings. That became our thing. The house waking up around us. The tick of the clock. Her reading glasses perched low on her nose. Me folding a napkin, then stopping when I caught myself doing it. Sam figured it out eventually. He took it better than either of us expected. Asked a few questions. Needed a little space. Then one night he laughed and said, "I guess I always wondered why you two went quiet at the same time." She didn't reach for my hand in front of him. Not yet. Later, when it was just us, she did. Like it mattered that the moment belonged to us alone. We still walked sometimes. Past the bench with the peeling green paint. We didn't sit there anymore, but we always slowed when we passed it. A quiet acknowledgement. A before. Life didn't smooth itself out. We argued about small things. About dishes. About plans. About whether I was staying over too often or not enough. Sometimes she worried out loud about the years between us. Sometimes I did too. We didn't pretend those thoughts disappeared just because we chose each other. But there was warmth now. Earned. Steady. On Sundays, I helped her cook. She burned things less when I was there. Or maybe she just didn't mind when she did. I learned which drawer held the good spoons. She learned that I needed quiet after long days. We made space. We filled it carefully. One evening, months in, we stood in the kitchen doing nothing important. The window was open. The air cool. She rested her head against my shoulder without ceremony, like it had always been allowed. "You still take your coffee black," she said. "Yeah." She smiled. I liked that I remembered. I thought about the missed call, the unsent texts, the bench, all the almost that had worn us thin before letting us arrive here. "I like that you didn't forget me," I said. She looked up, eyes soft, familiar now in a way that felt quietly miraculous. She didn't say anything, just squeezed my hand once. Enough. Later, when the house was dark and calm, I realized something simple and true. We didn't fix each other. We didn't save each other. We just stopped walking away. And somehow that was enough.